Good afternoon, my name is Takani from Sassy Creations. So today we are doing an assessment for my wood biscuits. I've got a stack of them right here, and we'll be going through each one to see whether they are ready, epoxy ready rather, whether they are ready to be created using epoxy, or whether we need to wait a bit, or whether we can wax it and protect it for cracks and so forth. So we'll be going through each basket one by one, assessing its readiness and making a decision on what we do with it. And the reason I'm going through this process to assess each and every one is that I do not want to make mistakes. For example, you don't want to protect it now or wax it only to later fail to use it as an epoxy piece. So hence the foundation is very important, same way as you build a foundation for any concrete thing or any beautiful thing that you want the outcome to be perfect. So some are going to be reserved to be used later. The ones that are ready, we are going to seal them on this same live. So instead of rushing through the process, I'm going to assess each one individually and then explain what I see, then make a decision on what is going to happen with them. Hopefully we should find 1, 2 or 3 that we can sell right now, and we can go through that process together. Let's get to the first one. So this is our very first piece. This is our very first piece with a few things that we can observe on it. As you can see there, it's got a crack that is coming up aggressively from the edge through to the center. The color, even though it seems to be stable all throughout the piece on this side, but on the other side, the color has a bit of dark spots, which suggests to me that it is not yet ready. And the crack as well, dominant as it is, it shows you that it cannot be sealed because it has already started the process of shifting the moisture. As it gets released from the wood, it created the cracks. So this means that the moisture released way faster than the wood can handle, hence the tension that created the crack. So for this reason, this would make a good epoxy feature later, but for now though, it needs to be given an opportunity to rest, to settle, and to decide what else it wants to do. When you check the bottom, you will see there's another crack there coming up slowly. It also needs to be given an opportunity to decide what it wants to do. Then looking at the center of this biscuit, it still has a lot of soft pieces, or the center is still a bit soft, meaning it also indicates that it is not dry as yet. So for that reason, we are going to let it settle a bit to be revisited at a later stage for us to assess what the wood says and decide what we do with it. Right, so the one thing that you need to avoid is to seal the wood now and only for it to fail later. So moving on to our next slab, this one as well, it has a very big aggressive crack that has developed from the edge of the biscuit going all the way to the center, and this is the most dominant one. with a smaller one coming up there, but it's still not sure whether it wants to be a big crack or not. And yeah, the color is also evening out, but the feel also suggests to be soft. The feel of the wood is still soft, suggesting that it is not yet ready. Can you see? I can even put my finger through the wood, through the face of the biscuit. This suggests that it is not yet ready as well. But this one is going to be a short wait as compared to the other one. The other one has to wait a little bit longer. So this would also make a nice epoxy feature later because of the crack that is already developed. And since there's movement that has started already, we are going to let it rest and let it settle and let it decide what it wants to do. Only at a later stage, sooner, we will revisit it and then see how it has been behaving. At this point, I'm not testing the moisture of the wood. I am just looking at them and doing my own assessment of the wood. The ones that we decide to sell and use are the ones that are going to be tested, but these ones are clear that they are not yet ready. Hence, the assessment is important, and hence we are going to put it aside for now. That's our piece. It's a beautiful piece though. Can make a nice side table at a later stage. For now though, we let it have a breather. Then we are going to be checking the next one. This is a bigger piece. Just for you to have a look at the piece that we are talking about at the moment. So this one, the surface feels very hard. It feels hard, it is strong. It doesn't have any aggressive cracks, just minor here and there, nothing drastic. And because it already feels dry, it shows you that it won't have any big or drastic movement from now on. So the surface is more solid. The surface is more solid. Even the color has stabilized all throughout the face of the biscuit, meaning it is ready to be used. So as a result, this would be a good candidate biscuit for us to sell it. Not on the face, because if you wax it on the face, it might absorb the wax and later on it will block it to absorb epoxy. So we don't sell the face either side. Instead, we are going to sell the edges. This is a good candidate for it to be sold today and to be used anytime soon or in the near future. This is definitely ready to be sold. Moving on to the next one. Okay, so here's our next piece. This piece has a few indications. Indication number one, the color has not yet stabilized throughout the wood. You can see there's a wave of a darker color as compared to this one that is light, meaning it is still settling and stabilizing. It also has one aggressive crack over there, which started from the edge all the way to the center, and it has one that is coming up there, not yet aggressive, but it gives an indication that it's already lining up to meet with this aggressive crack. And if it wants, chances are that it will split the biscuit into two pieces. Then you've got another one that already came up there, also moving towards the center, even though this one doesn't look like it will cause much of a damage. Not that these two are damages, they are not damages, they are good epoxy features, but they are not a good candidate to be sold. So we are not going to be selling this one. Just going to show you the other side. So if you want this one, it will definitely contaminate the wood, and you do not want to do that. You don't want to interfere with the nature process, or rather with the process of nature. So it also says, I want to be left alone for now until such time where I will give an indication that I am ready to be used. So for now, we wait with this one as it is still settling and deciding what it wants to do. Especially the cracks, they show you that they still are not sure on what they want to do. So it needs time to decide what it wants to do. Only at a later stage, maybe in a month or two, we can revisit this one and see how has it been behaving as far as these cracks are concerned. The face though, it's not yet solid like the other one that we checked earlier. So that's also another indication that this has to wait. We cannot do anything on it at the moment. Those are heavy. Alright, so we're moving on to the next biscuit. I was just sorting the other ones that we've already been through them. Then we are moving on to the next one, our biscuit number 5. It's only 6 of them for today. We're just going to assess the 6, and then we are going to seal the ones that are ready to be sold using a candle wax. So this is the 5th biscuit. This is similar to another one that we've already looked at. The cracks are still starting up. Not yet decided on what they want to do. The color of the face has not yet stabilized, meaning it also cannot be waxed as yet. If you wax it too early, the challenge is that you are containing the moisture inside. That's not good for the biscuit. So we need to let it escape, but in a better controlled environment under a shade, not sun exposed, for it to at least be releasing moisture at an acceptable rate. So since the cracks here are still deciding on what they want to do, we will give it a little bit of more time for it to be reassessed later, and then we can decide what happens with it. But it's already giving me an indication that it will be a good epoxy side table as well, as soon as it has dried out. The color here also suggests that the wood is still wet, and here it is soft as well, unlike the other one that had a solid face. The one that I said we are going to sell it definitely has a solid face, and this one doesn't. So we are going to let it settle a little bit more and let it rest. Then lastly, we've got another smaller biscuit which has already given an indication of what it wants to do. Why do I say what it wants to do? Because it has started its cracking process and almost finished it. Can you see? These are two pieces. It used to be one, and like the others, the cracks started on the edges of the biscuit and they went deeper inside. Where they met, the wood disjoined. So with the disjoining, then we got two pieces, but this is not the end, because here, if you check it, it suggests that it's still going further than this. So this one probably dried out faster than the biscuit can handle, hence the tension which resulted in these aggressive cracks and disconnecting from the main piece. So you can tell here that if I apply a bit of pressure on it, it can actually move apart, but I will let it decide whether it wants to be disjoined on its own or what. However, at a later stage, you can tell that this piece is epoxy thirsty. If I were to apply it, even a coat on it, it will definitely drink it up. It will drink it up like, it will definitely drink it up like a thirsty drunkard, if I can put it that way, because it has a softer face than any of the biscuits that we have assessed. Here it was just me removing the softer particles of the wood, but yeah, we can't do anything on it at the moment. No waxing, no epoxy, nothing. Can you see? This shows how soft the wood is, and this also just an indication that we should wait longer on this one until it decides what it wants to do. Chances are that if it doesn't break open, I will have to break it open myself so that I can protect the inside and glue it up better as I use it. This will definitely be a good practice piece for epoxy when I get to that stage where I am doing this table using epoxy. So this will be a good practice piece that I would love the process of going through it and creating what I am desiring to do, which is side tables. All the 6 pieces are going to make side tables, nothing else other than side tables. So we'll be starting on that process very soon, and I invite you to join in as we go through that. But this one definitely I'm not going to sell it. Remember, it's not every piece that it's meant to be sold. Some pieces are meant to be kept. So this is one of them that I am going to keep for myself because it will be a good practicing piece for me. I definitely cannot wait to get to that stage and process. So far from the 6, we've got 1 biscuit that is ready for sealing, and I am going to seal it now. I'll just brush off the edges slightly, then we will melt a candle and then use the wax to quickly seal it on the edges and prepare it for me to use it soon. The purpose for sealing it is to contain the remaining moisture, not to be released too fast from the biscuit, because that is how these cracks are formed. So I want to protect it to not have a moisture escape aggressively. So right, so this live, it's not really about doing more, but it's about doing what's right for the material. Hence we are getting them ready for that purpose, and I'm going to put our beautiful piece inside. If you check the inside as well, it has a nice flow, but it's softer than any other piece that I've already looked at. So I'll give it more chance for it to dry out, and then later on we can send it and get it ready to be created. Right, so I'm gonna go back to the piece that we have agreed that it is ready to be sold. The one that I said it has a solid face and it doesn't have aggressive cracks, and the color has stabilized, meaning I can protect it with wax only on the edges, nothing on the face. If anything spills on the face, I will quickly wipe it off for me to protect it from cracking any further, so that the moisture can be released but in a controlled manner, and we can definitely use that in the near future. So this is that piece. I intentionally put it aside for me to be able to seal it.